December 5th, 2025. It's year 4 day 285 since the full-scale invasion began. A warm welcome. I greet you to the Daily Situation Report. I often read in the comments that the channel deserves more reach and that many people don't even know about the channel. When people hear about reports on Ukraine or that I do this, they usually just say, "Oh, cool." I cover the topic, but I wasn't aware of the channel. You're absolutely right about that. The Algo crew does their best, as you can see from comments like these. Unfortunately, a YouTube channel is similar to any other company. If you don't advertise, you die. I completely avoid third-party ads in the situation reports, since they only last about 10 minutes anyway, and I don't want to insert 2 minutes of ads. But that means there's a lack of revenue, and as a result, the marketing budget is, of course, very small. In the end, it basically doesn't exist. Am I too small to collaborate with bigger channels? And by now, we've reached the point where there's no more growth coming from the algorithm. It just doesn't go any further. Now it's up to the daily viewers and their word of mouth. If every viewer today manages to get just one friend to subscribe or check out the channel, then that would be an extreme reach advantage and a strong push in just one day. We are a large collective that has already achieved a lot within the best community in the world anyway. I don't see any problem achieving that and giving me a bit of support. Otherwise, it won't work. I've been interested in the crew for several years. I've been interested in the Algo crew for several years now. The crew interested. I've been interested in the crew for several years now. I've been interested for several years. I've been interested in the crew for several years. I've been interested in the crew for several years. I've been interested in the crew for several years. I have. Several years. I've been interested in the crew for several years. I've been interested in the crew for some. I've been interested in the crew. I've been interested in the crew for several years. I've been interested in the Algo crew for several years. I've been interested in the Algo crew for years. I've been interested in the Algo crew for a long time. I've been interested in the crew for several years. I've been interested in the crew for several years. I've been interested in the Algo crew for several years. I've been interested in the crew for a long time. I've been interested in the Algo crew for a long time, especially good in the mountains and the highlands. And here we have the 81 Airborne Brigade, also involved, consists of elite special forces serving as a support element. You should mainly consider how far the Russians have advanced and the fighting here. They started 2 days ago and are still ongoing today. To my knowledge, the Ukrainians managed to push the Russians out of the city again. To be safe, I always marked it as a new Russian gain. If they were pushed out here, they aren't far from the city. Up here near the hospital, it looks different. Many Russian geolocations are here. 4 in total, all here in this part, and as far as I know, they haven't been pushed out. That means the Russians are probably trying to establish some kind of forward position up here so they can supply further from there. The Ukrainian defense appears stronger in the south as it moves east than here. Quick action is now needed. We've seen this in other cities and attacks. If Ukrainians fail to push Russians out now, things will become very difficult for them again, because the Russians will then reinforce extremely and expand their advantage here. If that happens, the city's eastern district will be in great danger. And I also don't see any recapture by the Ukrainian side if the Russians are really able to maintain their momentum here. If we look up, we can see a small update on the situation map with several new contested areas added. A Russian geolocation was reported here in Dranivka, as well as down here in Platonivka. The issue is Ukrainians mainly use this road for supplies, and we don't know what happened to Russian units here. There was only a Ukrainian drone strike on 2 or 3 soldiers, so of course we don't know if there are more here. And as I said, there's a road here that the Ukrainians use to supply. And if this road is in danger of being entered or controlled by the Russians, then of course the supply situation for Siversk looks very, very bad. We've seen something like this in Pokrovsk, and now we're going to look at it here. We've seen Ukrainians can only use this road to get in and out. And the big problem we have here is that although the Russians aren't physically on the road, the drone situation makes it really hard to supply and also to rotate troops. At the Red Pin, the Russians also dropped a 500-kilogram bomb on the main traffic office. This suggests Ukrainians controlled the area until the bomb struck the building. And that also shows that such alternative maps from dubious reporters make absolutely no sense. I've marked it here on the map where the Russians attacked. We can see a clear difference between a neutral map and my map, which combines pro-Russian and pro-Ukrainian maps. An extremely pro-Russian view, amplified by greater reach and pro-Russian users' willingness to share, spreads more frequently, which is disastrous in combating misinformation. As I've often said, there's also a media war here, with the neutral side clearly outmatched by the strongly pro-Ukrainian and pro-Russian perspectives. I find that especially dangerous regarding information dissemination. Ukrainian F-16s now appear to have APKWs. These are laser-guided 70mm rockets, regular Hydra rounds that have been made steerable with a precision kit and are excellent against slower, smaller targets. Photos show a typical setup. 2 pods with 7 rounds each and 2 sidewinders. So on the wingtips, you get 14 APKWs and 4 AM-9S, which means 18 guided missiles on a single aircraft. This is highly effective for Shahed defense and a major tactical advance in drone hunting. The advanced precision kill weapon system costs much less than standard air-to-air missiles. These rockets can be fired in succession and react quickly to Shahed drones and low-flying projectiles. The F-16 can use laser targeting from its own pods to work with ground stations and thus eliminate multiple targets in a single mission. The range and terminal speed are logically lower than those of larger missiles. In return, the jets carry more and help cover gaps in ground-air defense, especially during large-scale attacks. There are still limits: weather, line of sight, air defense, and the need for laser designation. Ultimately, this loadout increases nightly interceptions and eases the burden on Patriot and other air defense systems. One of the most interesting background figures in this war, in my opinion, is Kadyrov. The Chechen leader brought a huge invincible army in 2022, while now, 3 years later, he only sends small groups of soldiers to the front. Either he is deliberately holding back his forces for his own power ambitions, or the personnel numbers have simply thinned out. The truth is likely somewhere in between. A shrinking recruitment base, lower motivation, and the wish to reserve elite units for holding power in Chechnya. Special thanks to the Algo crew and Lieutenant Colonel Renike. As always, thank you for listening. Like, subscribe, comment, and see you next time.